Yo, yo, yo. What's the dealio, y'all? What's the dealio? Hey, it's Sunday. We already know what time it is, man. It's Sunday. That means that we finally get back to the stock market. We finally get back to trading, man. So make sure we tap in. This is going to be a really good live. All right. We just coming off a 3-day weekend. So if you just tuning in, man, say what's up in the comments. Be sure to like this video for me. All right. Let's get this video, this live right here. Let's get this live to 100 likes. All right. I'm gonna give you guys a lot of information, a lot of life-changing information. And I'm gonna give y'all some setups. All right. Ways that we can make money in the market this week. All right. So be sure to tap in and be sure to like this video. Tap in, man. Let me know where you tuning in from. All right. What's up, Best Beezy? Hey, I'm ready for the market as well. All right, I'm ready for the market as well. Seriously. It's something about a 3-day weekend, man. It really puts things in perspective for you. So yeah, I'm definitely ready. All right, what up, Key? How you doing? QTZ, what's the dealio? What's the dealio? William, what up? Veronica, what up? Genesis, what's the dealio? I hope y'all got all y'all studying in, man. We had a short week last week. Okay, we had a short week last week. So this week we get to really have a full week of trading. So I'm excited about that, all right? What up, Shally? What up, what up? What's up, Kanaka? How you feeling? How you feeling? Hey, man, if y'all just tapping in, say what's up in the comments. Be sure to like this video, all right? Kara in Houston. Hey, H-Town. What up, H-Town? So look, I don't wanna waste y'all time. We gonna go in today, all right? I want you guys to understand that in this live, like I do all lives, I'm always trying to give you something, not just piece feed you, right? But I'm trying to give you the information to the point where you can go do this on your own, right? So I know that over time, as this YouTube channel continues to mature, it's gonna be people that touch their first 100K off this channel. It's gonna be people that touch their first $250,000, $500,000, millionaires, right? So give this time and let's continue to build, right? Let's continue to build because we making millionaires, all right? The stock market is powerful and it's all about what you do with the information, all right? What up, Josh? How you feeling? RV, what's the dealio? Brian, what's up? What's up? What's up, Ivan? What up? All right. Hey, so let's get into it. All right. Let's get into it. What I want to do is, what's up, Sunshine? How you feeling? Hey, be sure to like this video, y'all. All right, do me that one favor. Like this video. Let's get this live. Let's get this live to 100 likes while we are on live. All right. So I just wanted to give people a little bit of time to get on. All right. Are you gonna move permanently to Colombia? Nah, not permanently, but been out here for 4 months now. So yeah, what up, Ellie? E Pepe, what up? So check this out, man. What I want to do is I want to recap last week real quick, all right? Because I want you guys to understand how powerful and important these levels are that I'm giving y'all, okay? So last week, what we did was I told you guys about Amazon. I told y'all about Lululemon. And I told you guys about Applied, right? AMZN, LULU, and APLD, okay? So how about we go into see what they did last week in the stock market, all right? Let's look at what they did in the stock market last week, okay? So the date last week was, what up, prosperity and happiness? The date last week was, I'm looking at it right now. It was last week, it was a short week. The June 30th, okay? So the week of June 30th is what I told you guys about, all right? So let me show you guys this first and foremost, right? So check this out. Check this out. All right, so last week, right, I told you guys about Amazon, all right? And then I told you guys about Lululemon, okay? Right? And then I told y'all about APLD. All right? Now, let's go to Amazon first. So Amazon, right? So this is the daily time frame. Let's go to the weekly real quick. So the weekly time frame, look what it did. It came down here to 218, 217, 90, and then all the buyers pushed it all the way back up, right? So it ended slightly higher than where it closed at on the week before, right? So it closed like 20 cents higher, okay? So if you would have got in down here and then rode it back up, you would have made some money, okay? You would have made some money. Now, this is what it did throughout the week on the days. So look, this was Friday. This was Monday, right? Monday it pushed down, and then the rest of the week it pushed up. All right. So if you would have saw it come down here and then you would have see it start pushing up here and here, you could have got into a nice call and rode that up. All right. So that was Amazon last week. The next one is Lululemon. All right, let's go to Lululemon. If we go to Lululemon, where we at right here, okay? So I told everybody, I said, all right, y'all, Lululemon is at this demand zone right here. Calls above 237.50, right? What up, Antonio? William said he up 16% on applied. There you go. Okay, so let's look at Lululemon. So Lululemon right here, it was in this demand zone, right? I said calls above 237. 237 was right here, okay? Look where it went to. It went all the way up to 251, all right? So if you would have entered into a call above that level right there, okay, you would have been able to potentially change your life, all right? Because last week they ran about $13, okay? So that was a solid play right there, all right? The next one, the last one for the week last week was applied, okay? So I said calls above 1096, all right? It could pull back, but let's see what applied did. So applied, where we at? APLD. APLD, where you at? Where you at? You around here somewhere. Come on now. Y'all see applied on my charts? Oh, there it is. All right. So look, so this is what it did last week. This was on Friday, so this was on Monday. So on Monday, it opened at 1057, came down to 962, and then it pushed back up to 1059. All right, but it closed at 1045. All right. So on the week, look what it did on the week. Another dragonfly. All right, a lot of buyers stepped in. So it didn't break above that resistance level that I said, but it pulled back and then it pushed back up. So that's a good sign. That's letting you know that it ain't just selling off. You get what I'm saying? It ain't just selling off. So applied is holding this structure right there. So that lets me know that we probably gonna have a nice solid move to the upside here real soon, because it's not just selling off, right? I did a video yesterday, right? I released a video about market structure yesterday. If you have not, make sure later on you go watch that video, because that market structure video lets you know when you should get out or stay in a trade, right? So if we base this off of market structure right here, look at this, right? So right here we got this little box, right? Who watched the video that I posted yesterday? If you watched the video that I posted yesterday, drop it in the comments, let me know, okay? Let me know if you watched yesterday's market structure video. Now check this out. So this is, we got this right here, right? So check it out. Check it out. Right? Okay. So this is a structure right here. That's how I look at it. So if the stock, if applied breaks below 945, okay? So if we break past this level right here, then we could be coming down lower, right? We could be coming all the way down to like $7. But it stayed here and it's holding steady. And because it's holding steady here, that this is a level of support. So all it's doing right now is consolidating. So what's going to happen is, right, some may say this is a bear flag, okay? Some may say it's a bear flag. Some may say it's holding support. Now, with the market sentiment and how everything is starting to push up, NVIDIA is pushing up. NVIDIA is one of the biggest holders of applied right now. This could just be a pullback and it could be going to the upside. And then when we look at it on the weekly time frame, it came down, buyer stepped in, and it pushed up, and it potentially could be going to the upside. Okay, so that's how I'm looking at apply right now. All right, that's how I'm looking at apply right now. Best Beezy said I did. Kanaka, you did. Genesis, QTZ, market structure. Yep. There we go. Yeah. So y'all understand what I'm saying about this market structure. So that's the thing, right? I want you guys to understand this. If a stock is going up, right, and you see it just consolidating, but it's holding a certain like structure, a certain like support and resistance within a small little box, is holding that structure, right? So that way, that lets you know that, okay, it didn't sell off hard, so that's a good sign that it could keep going up. Let me show you guys a good example of this, okay? We're going to get in our bag today, all right? We're going to get in our bag today. So let me show you guys a good example of this. Look at this stock right here. Look at this stock right here, Oracle, okay? They had earnings, all right? They had earnings on June 11th, right? They beat earnings, they gapped up, okay? And then they came, so they had a crazy day all the way up to 200. So they went from 176 to 200, all right? And then they gapped up a little bit more. Then they went all the way up to 215, right? Now, a lot of people would have thought that this stock is going to just come back down and fill this gap right here. But what it started to do was, what it started to do was, it started to create this structure right here, right? So it created this structure right here. And you can look at that as a bull flag as well. But as long as Oracle didn't go below 201, then it was most likely going to continue to go to the upside, right? So it held this structure right here, and then look what it did. Right now we sitting at 240, right? Really 237, but you get what I'm saying, right? So Oracle is at all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, Oracle is at all-time highs right now. All right, look at that. So this is what we mean about the structure, okay? So it held this structure right here. Okay, it held this structure right here. So this is a good sign that it could be going to the upside, and it did, right? So that's what we got going on when we're talking about like the structure. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Uber today too, but Uber is a good example. Now I do think that Uber is gonna come down, but it does have some good upside potential. All right. So yeah, so that's the recap for last week. Because I don't want to just, talk about certain stocks and then we can't look back on it. So that's the recap for last week. So if you would have got into Lululemon, you would have got paid, okay? if you would have got in on Applied and Amazon on a pullback at their support levels and rolled them back up, you would have also got paid. So out of the 3 trades, the 3 stocks that I broke down for you guys last week, all of those, if you know how to trade, would have hit. And that's why I wanted to make that market structure video, because just because I say, okay, this stock, it calls above here, if you see it come down and pull back and it start to push up, then it's going to come back up to where it just came from. So I want you guys to understand that. So you got to learn and understand how to read the charts, right? Read the charts and understand, okay, where is the stock most likely going to come back down to? And if you see it come back down to it and it bounce off of that bottom, that's that support level. And then it's going to try to retrace and come back to where it just came from. And if it breaks above that level, then it's going to go up to where I initially said it was going to go up to, because that was the resistance level. Okay? So before we talk about this coming up week, I wanted to talk about last week, right? So that you guys can understand and see what this is looking like, okay? And how things were. I don't just, say random stocks just so that I could get views. No, I'm sharing setups that I would most likely take and enter that look solid, right? And that also don't look like I would catch a falling knife, right? So when I'm saying, okay, I'm looking at this stock this week, I want you guys to understand that, because I want y'all to make money. Like straight up, I want you guys to make money. I want y'all to change your life. So that's where I'm coming from with it all right? I ain't just a random dude who just saying random stocks. No, I do a lot of analysis, okay? So yeah. So, yeah, when I like, when using a box, when a consolidation, I take that market as a strong support. Yep, I'm working on a different level. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I like to look at trend levels for resistance on a 3-month chart, also to see the trend. Yeah, 3-month time frame, monthly time frame. Yeah, when you look at the monthly time frame, you really get to kind of see what things are going to be looking like. All right. CMG said me waiting on Meta. I haven't been trading Meta lately, but I may talk about them today. Okay. But so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this coming up week, right? So before that, I want you guys to know that futures dropped in the pre-market, okay? Well, in the after hours right now, right? So futures dropped. So Trump said tariffs are going to go into place on August 1st, I believe. So you got to understand that could affect the market, but I don't think that it's going to affect it big, right? Because we've been dealing with this tariff stuff for 7 months, going on 7 months, right? So we may get a pullback, but I don't think that the market is going to drop like crazy, okay? I don't think it's going to drop like crazy. So, excuse me. So if we do get a pullback, I would probably consider that. A nice place to enter into your longs. All right, what's up, Ed? So, with that being said, let's get into the so this week, right? If y'all are watching this and you have not already, do me a favor and like this video. Also, make sure you drop it in the chat, right, where you tuning in from, okay? So, feels like we still waiting on that correction. Yeah, I'm waiting on the correction, but at the same time, you got to go with the trend, right? That's the thing. You can't sit here and be like, okay, I'm waiting on this thing to happen, and then 5 months go by and it don't happen, right? You got to go with what the market is showing you. So I'm always anticipating. I'm not staying in trades too long, right? Like swing trades too long, but whenever we do see a dip, I'm gonna know what to do with it. All right. So yeah. Exactly. Take profits and fund in new positions. Bingo. All right. So let's go into. So we're gonna look at the SPY first, right? We want to look at the market, and then we're gonna look at the IWM. All right, I like the IWM. It's the ETF for small caps. I like how the IWM moves, and I also like it for any account size. No matter what your account size is, you could trade the IWM and make big money. All right, so we're gonna look at them. All right, what up, Andres? How you feeling? That's the mayor. Andres is the international mayor. All right, so shout out to Andres. What up, Q? Q man, what up? Savannah GA. All right, check this out. So let's go to the SPY, and then we're gonna go to the IWM. Okay. So let's look. So we look at the SPY, right? The SPY hit all-time highs again. So the previous all-time highs was right here. All right, so I'm gonna put an arrow right here. These are previous all-time highs. All right, previous time highs. Okay, right here. Make this a little smaller. All right, and that level is at 613. Okay, so we broke past there, and we're at 625. Okay. If you look on a weekly time frame, this is what it looked like. We broke past it. We didn't come back and retest it yet. And then we went up higher. All right. So when we have a pullback, I expect the SPY. I got two levels that I expect the SPY to come and retest, right? So I think that if we pull back, the SPY is going to come and retest this level right here at 615, right? And or the previous all-time highs at 613. Okay? So we got 615 and 613. Now, as you can see, this 615 level is right above this 9 EMA right here. So whenever you got the 9 EMA, that's a short-term pullback. So that's a great place for SPY to come and pull back to bounce off of and then go to the upside. Okay? So the SPY could come back around here, bounce off and then go higher, or it could come like to the 21 EMA right here. All right, and then bounce off. So I'm thinking that the SPY is going to come and retest 615 and potentially 613. All right, 613, which was right here. All right. And then if we get a bounce, then we could go and then we could try to recapture that 625 and try to break right past above it again. All right. So so that's what I think. That's what I think with SPY right now. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at with SPY right now. So the SPY has been pumping. If you look at it, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight days of green. All right, 6 straight days of green. 8 out of the last 9 days are green. Okay, and then we have a gap right here. All right, we got a gap right here from 603 to 600. Okay, we got a gap right there as well. So yes, we could come down here as well. That's not out of the question, right? So if, let's say, this tariff stuff start to really come up, and then for the next 2 to 4 days, the SPY is red, the SPY could come all the way down to here, right? To 600, because we've seen a SPY drop by $8, $10 in a day. That's not out of the question. So all it takes is 2 days to drop $8 to $10, and we right back at $600. Y'all see what I'm saying? So that's not out of the question. So if we do come and fill this gap, that's also a nice place, right, for us to bounce off of and go back to the upside, because if it comes down here to 600, you know where it's going. It's going right back up to 625. All right. So so that's what we got with that, right? Yeah, we got this gap right here as well. Okay. All the way down to 620. Now with this gap, we may gap down tomorrow and then fill this gap right here, right? So I always want you guys to understand and remember, we don't know what's going to happen until it happens. That's why it's important to understand how to read the charts in real time and understand what's going on with certain, like what certain things mean. So that way you could be able to see what it is, right? Because everything is speculation until it happens, right? So that's where we're at with the SPY. Now we got the IWM, okay? So on the IWM, we got this gap right here, okay? So we got 221 to 221, right? So basically this is almost 222. So we got a dollar gap right here, all right? We just broke above this daily level right here at 217. All right, we broke above it, we closed right here, and then we tested it, and then we broke up. All right, so we may potentially come back down to 217 to retest it one more time to hold the structure. But as you can see right here, we have no resistance until 226. Okay, so I could definitely see IWM coming up to 226 because we're at 221 right now. We may gap down. We could open up flat, come down here and then go up, or we could have a red day, a couple red days, bounce off of here and then come to the upside. There's so many different variations on how it could happen, but IWM, we have no resistance, nothing stopping us until 226. So for IWM, we got another $3 move. We got another $3 move from IWM incoming. All right. So that's what I'm seeing right here. We had a bullish engulfing right here. Okay, on a daily. Y'all see this right here? This was on Tuesday. This candle engulfed this candle right here, and then boom, right? We went to the upside. And then on a weekly last week, it was very strong. Okay, this is a very strong candle right here. No top wick, so there's not a lot of selling pressure coming in right here. There's way more buying pressure than it is selling pressure right here. All right, so this is a lot of buyers stepping in. So I'm confident that we're gonna come up to 226 at some point in time this week, even if we just touch it. All right, I'm not saying we're gonna stay there, but I am saying that depending on how the week go, I'm confident that we could go touch that level right there. Okay, so that's IWM, right? So we got IWM and we got the SPY. Now those are just the overlooking for the markets, right? I like to look at the markets and see, okay, see what's going on with that. All right. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna look at my setups, the ones that I'm looking at now. I want to say that when I was doing my charts for this weekend, I saw like 10 setups. Okay, I saw like 10 setups, a lot. I could do a whole 2-hour live about what setups I'm seeing, honestly. All right, because there's a lot of setups in the market, but I don't want to try to overwhelm y'all. I want to give you guys, a couple ones that you could lock in on and focus on that are already vetted. All right, so we're gonna do that. Before I get into my setups, I want y'all to do me a favor and just like this video if you have not already. All right, let's get this video to 100 likes. All right. And what I'm gonna do too, I'm gonna give y'all my 3 setups, and then I'm gonna give you a couple honorable mentions. All right, a couple honorable mentions that they didn't necessarily make the list, but I still may trade them. I still may swing trade them throughout the week. All right. Also, what was I gonna say? I forgot. But yeah, so these are some stocks that we got 3 setups, and then we have my honorable mentions. All right. So, what I was gonna say is, y'all let me know what stocks y'all are looking at this week in the comments too. All right. Y'all let me know what stocks you're looking at. I know what stocks I'm looking at, right? I want to know what stocks y'all are looking at this week. All right. So drop it in the comments and let me know what y'all looking at. What up, trees? All right, and say what's up in the comments if you haven't. All right, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel, right? I put out videos every single day, right? I've been putting out daily videos since January, right? And I have not missed one day all year. All right, so I'm reliable. You could count on me. Okay, so every single day I got some sauce coming for you, right? So FedEx, hey, I like FedEx. They actually got upgraded a couple weeks ago. Okay, they got upgraded. So FedEx might touch over the next month. FedEx might touch 270. Honestly, Genesis said coin. Okay, hey, coin put me on the map. On my, I ain't gonna lie, coin did some real nice stuff this week. I mean, for me over time, right? Like coin, I made a lot of money with Coinbase. That's one of my. I got a special place in my heart for Coinbase. All right, BTBT, DGXX. Okay, I'm trying to catch BBAI on a small pullback. Okay. Okay, UNH, Palantir, Alta. I don't like Alta. I swung trade them. I made some money with them, last month? But they spreads is real funny. Why you like Alta, William? SoFi, Weeble, BBAI. Okay, Him's been hitting for me lately. Okay, hey, Hims is a banger. Hims is a banger. I will not. That's one of my favorite stocks to trade. They spreads be a little wide, but I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of those wide spreads because when it's going in a direction, Hims will make you a bag. Like legit. Hims will make you a bag. So I'm waiting on PayPal. Okay, I'm pull back on PayPal. PayPal long term is a nice leap, honestly. All right. Yeah. I went crazy on coin like last year. Like election time. That's when I went crazy with coin. What do you think will happen on the charts with Tesla this week? I think Tesla's about to dip. Okay, they've been going at it. Elon and Trump been going at it over the weekend. Okay, so I think Tesla's about to go down. But I think that Tesla should have went down last week. But they had deliveries. They were down on their deliveries for the second year at the same time. But they ended up going up, right? So I think Tesla's about to drop. So yeah. I think Tesla's about to drop. He said the hood. Apple continue filling the gap up. IWM True got a support, has a gap up. Hey, I'm proud of y'all, man. Y'all sounding like some veteran traders over here. Shout out to that, man. Best B, you sound like you've been trading for 8 years. Brielle, you sound like you've been, smacking $50,000 months, right? Will, I'm doing plug on a ticker. Okay, PLUG. Johnny, you're the one who put me on Hims? Yeah. Hey, Hims is the one, not the two. Hims, Hood, and AMD. Them your go-tos. Okay, BBAI. All right, cool. All right, so look, let's go to my setups this week. All right, let's look at the after hours real quick. Okay, let's see what's going on. Let's see if the market is red right now. Market just opened up, right? So we mixed. We mixed right now. Well, now we pretty red. We pretty red, but it ain't nothing too crazy. We down a little bit, but it ain't too bad. So, yeah, it ain't nothing too bad. So we got a lot of setups we gonna talk about. All right, Alta's consolidating on a 4-hour time frame. It's ready for a squeeze. I feel that. Amazon. That's why I'm looking at Amazon this week because we got Amazon Prime Day this week. All right, Amazon Prime Day this week. BBAI, plug, SBET been very good. All right, so let's look at my setups. All right, so the first one I already said, I didn't say, but this week, so I'm gonna go with Amazon again this week, right? Because it didn't break past that level, it came back down in that support, it held that structure, and then it came back up, right? So let's look at Amazon on a daily and on a weekly time frame, and I'm gonna let y'all know what I'm seeing on Amazon. All right, so check this out. Yeah, Prime is on there's something going on this week. So Amazon. Here we go. All right, so check this out. So look at this, right? some would say that some would say it's an inverse head and shoulders, right? I've heard people say that. But so look at this right here, right? So we came up here, we broke out of a bull flag, and we came up here, right? 242, we rejected, and then we came down here, right? Bounced off, came up, bounced, came back down, bounced off, and went back to the upside, right? This looked like a bull flag it had as well. Broke out of that, right? Came up here, held this structure right here, consolidating, broke out of this a little bit, but now we're right here, right? So if Amazon can break above this 225 level right here, if Amazon could break above this 225 level, I like it going to the upside, right? We really don't have no real resistance until this level right here, okay? You could say right here, 234. So we could say that like a midway target could be 234 right here, but it's no real crazy resistance until we hit this level right here. You look at the weekly time frame. If you know anything about like candlesticks, a dragonfly doji is very bullish. All right, it don't matter the color. A dragonfly doji is very bullish. All right, it tried to push down and then it came up, right, and it closed right here. This lets me know that the buyers are not done yet, right? The buyers are not done yet. So Amazon could really make a crazy move, okay? So if it breaks above 225, then I can see Amazon going to 234, okay? 234 for sure. And then we get above there, we could get back up to 242. And then we could try to break above that and, you know, go create some new all-time highs. All right. So that's the first one right there is Amazon. All right. That's the first one right there is Amazon. I think that Amazon could definitely, you know, go to the upside. Whenever I see a dragonfly doji on a weekly time frame or a daily time frame, I get a little excited because I know what that means. You know what I'm saying? So that's Amazon. The next one that I'm looking at is, I haven't talked about them in a while on the live, but the next stock that I have, where we at? The next stock that I have on my watch list, let me pull it up. Here we go. All right. My next stock is going to be, Joshua said IWM sold off. Let's look. I'm pulling up Robinhood right now. IWM, where it's at? IWM 222. But it's only right now. It may 222, but that's just filling the gap. So look, right? So real quick, if we go to the daily time frame on IWM, all right, what I just say, right? I said it has a gap from 222. Oh, 221. Okay, so yeah, it could come down to 221, right? So, and then, but like I said, it could come down to 217, but and then bounce off of that level right there, right? But we gonna see, okay? He said close above 225 on what time frame? So this is how I do this, right? This is how I do this. So when I'm looking at the daily and the weekly time frame, so you can look at this a couple different ways. If let's say the market been open for 30 minutes and Amazon closes above 225, that thing could shoot up all day. All right. If it closed above that on like the hourly or the 4-hour time frame, that thing could shoot up like crazy, right? But if let's say it closes above 225 on a daily time frame, let's say it closes at like 225.30 on Monday. Okay, I will wait until Tuesday morning to see, do we come down and retest that level that it just broke past, or do we go up, right? So it depends on when it breaks above it, and it also depends on what time frame you're looking at. So I would, if you want to be super safe, I would say the daily time frame and or the 4 hour or the 6 hour time frame. Okay, so that's what I would say. Oh, you said Tesla down $22? Where we at? Let's look at Tezzy. See, yeah, yeah. So look, this is where Tesla was gonna come in, gonna come down to with the delivery data, right? But they did some manipulation to make Tesla go up. So this is why they're down right now. So this is all. This is what I'm saying. This is all a manipulation. All right, because it ain't no way that they're down on deliveries 15% and then they go up. They have a crazy run for that day, right? So yeah. So yeah, Tesla down like crazy. But I want you guys to remember that this is only aftermarket, right? This is giving us a small glimpse into what it could be, but we could wake up and Tesla could be at 302. But that don't mean that it ain't about to drop. You see what I'm saying? So when you see where things are at in the aftermarket, it'll give you a little glimpse of where it could be going, but pay attention to where the stock is at in the aftermarket on Sunday night versus where it opens up at, right? And then you can sit here and say, okay, we had a lot of sellers in the aftermarket. We opened up at we opened up at 295 in the aftermarket, but right now it's at 301. I would be willing to bet that at some point in time that week or later on in that day, Tesla gonna drop down going towards 295. You see what I'm saying? But we could wake up and Tesla could be down. Tesla could be down by, it could be at 284 when we wake up. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you never could predict this stuff. You can have your intuitions, but nobody can predict the market, right? You can see certain small things and be like, man, that's a little fugazi right there, right? But you can't sit here and know that for a fact it's gonna happen unless you're an insider, right? So yeah, but they selling off like crazy. Couple other stocks are down a little bit, but they ain't down too crazy. All right, Amazon is only down like 60 cents, so it's holding strong right now. So we gonna see what's up with that. All right. So the next stock that I have that I'm looking at, let me see where it's at in the aftermarket right now. The next stock that I'm looking at, ooh, oh yeah. So it's gonna be Shopify, okay? Shopify. Now let's look at Shopify. So if you look at Shopify in the after hours, they right here, okay? They at 117.20, all right? They at 117.20, okay? So let's look at Shopify on the charts. It said load up on Tesla TSL calls. Yeah, when they bottom out, all right? Don't load up on them right when market open. You want to let the dust settle first because they could come down for a couple days, right? But yeah, Sunshine said, be kind. Yeah, hey, smash that like button, y'all. All right? Be sure to smash that like button. We talking, this information right here could go and make you, $1,000 this week, depending on your account size. It could go make you $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 this week. All right? I'm giving y'all actual levels and actual trades, and we really like taking our time and talking through this stuff. All right? So yeah, hit that like button for this live. And also tap in the comments to let me know where you tapping in from. All right. So the next stock, like I say, is Shopify. So let's go to their chart and go in. All right. So we look at Shopify. All right. Now look at Shopify. Okay. Some would also say that this is the inverse head and shoulders. All right. They may say this is the head. These are shoulders right here. Okay. But we got right here, okay? So look at Shopify. Shopify looks really nice, all right? So we got this level right here that it has to break above. Okay, we could say 117.44, right? Right there. All right, 117.44. So look, it came up, rejected, and it came down. Right? Came up a little bit, came down. Came up, came back down, tested here again, right? It's been just kind of like doing this thing, right? Little by little. But look, if we get above this 117.44, we have no resistance until 125. All right? Until 125. And then you got, if we look on the weekly, look at the weekly. A lot of buying pressure came in. A lot of buying pressure came in. And then boom, right? Ended up right here. So we close above here on a daily time frame. On a weekly time frame, on a weekly time frame, we going to 130, right? But we may come and touch this week, right? We may get halfway through this right here this week. So Shopify looks really good. All right. So on Shopify, I would say calls above 117.44. All right. Calls above 117.44. Now, if you look at, so let's say Shopify opens above, let's say they open at 118, right? I would wait to see if they're going to come down a little bit. And then I would immediately, if I see them come down a little bit to maybe fill that overnight gap, and I see them start pushing up, I'll get in some calls and ride that up. Okay? But Shopify looked like a banger. That one looked like a certified banger right there. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right? Yeah, Shopify looked ready for some calls for sure. It looked like it could go up to 125 easily. And if you know anything about Shopify, Shopify moves. When they go crazy, they go crazy. When they pump, they pump. All right? When Shopify pumps, Shopify pumps. All right, Plan BT said, do I use level 2? What is level 2? Do I use level 2 what? When y'all asking questions, I want y'all to be specific, right? So I could understand what you're asking. All right? So yeah. So let me know what you mean by level 2. And then I have another stock, and then we got some honorable mentions that we'll talk about. Okay. So, but yeah, what do you mean level 2? Okay. But yeah, Shopify looked like it's ready for calls. Like it looked like it can make some really nice moves to the upside. And Shopify is a mover. All right. So don't sleep on Shopify. Ticker symbol is SHOP. All right. SHOP. Okay. Now, so what'd you say? Show busts and sells real time. Buys and sells real time. Nah. Honestly, so I don't know if you're talking about like on Webull or whatever, but nah, on Webull my account is a level 2. But no, I don't have anything else that's level 2 data, no. All right, so the next stock that I'm looking at that's on this watch list right now, what I put? Oh yeah. So I used to trade this stock a lot. Like earlier this year, they was having a run. But check this one out. It's gonna be a firm. All right. Ticker symbol is AFRM. So let's look at a firm real quick. All right. This stock is a banger too. All right. This stock is a banger. Like people I don't know. I feel like they be sleeping on the firm. Okay. So let's look at a firm real quick. Look at a firm right here, y'all. Now we got this level right here, right? 69.87, right? If you look at the daily time frame, and look, someone would say that this could be an inverse head and shoulders as well. So the last 3 stocks that I showed you all look like an inverse head and shoulders, which is a bullish trend reversal pattern, right? So look at this. So a firm came up to here, rejected a little bit, came back up, and it's right here, right? At 69.87. Now, if you look at what's going on right here, it didn't hit this level and then come all the way down here. It just had a slight pullback, right? Just a slight pullback. Pulled back about $3-4. Then it came right back up to test it. If you see a firm get above 69.87, then you could bet that this thing is going to come up to $75. All right. If you look at the weekly, it looks beautiful. And once again, another Dragonfly Doji. This is the third Dragonfly Doji on a weekly time frame that I'm seeing. Right? So this right here could be a straight banger. So we get above here, 69.87. We enter in some calls and we can ride that thing up to the upside. For sure, for sure. All right. On a weekly time frame, it looks good. On a daily time frame, it looks good as well. Now, if we come up here and we reject, then so be it, right? You could ride puts or you could not take that entry. But this right here, this looks like it's primed and ready to go to the upside for sure. All right, if you look at the weekly time frame, we could really go up to like $82. But to be on the safe side and the conservative side, if we look at the daily, we could go up to $75. Right? Y'all get what I'm saying there? All right. So yeah, so I trade options. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't trade shares. So yeah. So yeah, I don't do that. I have a different tool that shows me the same thing but for option contract and premiums and like buys and sales, but it's not level 2. It's a different tool. All right. William said OMG Air Firm is another banger to yeah. So look, these three, they all have Dragonfly Dojis on the weekly time frame. Y'all see what I'm saying? So this is why I chose these three, right? These are three that I'm willing to say, okay, these are what I really believe in, right? So yeah, I think that Amazon, Shopify, and Affirm, they gonna do some numbers this week, right? And let's look at Affirm on on Robinhood real quick. So AFRM, so they're at $68. So they're down a little bit in pre-market, but there's a lot of red right now, right? And that's all just because of tariff stuff and news stuff and stuff like that. So, but like I always say, we gonna see what happens when the market actually opens up. All right, we gonna see what happens when the market opens up. All right. Joshua said, makes sense now. I see why you kept saying call. Oh yeah. So just so y'all know, I trade options. All right, I don't trade shares. I like to be able to make money when the stock goes up and when the stock goes down. All right, so I trade options. So yeah, if there's a confusion there, let's clear that up. All right. I'm adding these to them. I watch this. Yeah, add these because these right here, based off of technicals, these look beautiful. These look beautiful. They look great. They look like they could really make some noise. They could make some strong moves to the upside. All right. Are they all gonna hit? They could. They could not. Right. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. That's why we just gotta see what happens once the market opens and once this week starts to go. Right. We may have a couple red days. We may get some pullbacks, but once that happens, and we start getting some confirmation that it's just a pullback, we could pull the trigger and we could ride it to the upside. Y'all get what I'm saying? So so we got Amazon, we got Shopify, and we got Affirm. Okay. Now let's go to a couple honorable mentions real quick. All right. There's a lot of honorable mentions. Let me pull up my list. Hey, I traded VRT a couple weeks ago actually. I swung them because they had a gap to fill. And yeah, they made some bread. Check it out. Hold on. Yeah, VRT been smacking shit. VRT and Marvel, MRVL. Right? Check it out. right? So, I ain't capping. Look, VRT, I got them, I had them charted out already, right? So they had this gap right here. They blasted through that gap, okay? And then they at this gap right here, right? This 127. And then they going all the way up to 144. So I may enter into some swings with them, depending on tomorrow where they're at. Because if we got, let me see where they at in after hours, right? In after hours, they're at 127. All right, so they're only down 84 cents. So yeah, like that's right. That's right. So that's still inside of this in this box right here. So I may get like a month out. I may get a month out contract and ride them up because it took them one. Well, they got through this gap right here in a $4 gap, $3 gap in a day, but they got through it in about 4 days, right? So it may take them about 3 weeks to get through this gap right here, but this could be a banger. All right. But yeah, I was looking at Vertiv when they was like around here, around like 104, 110. And I remember when I saw this gap right here and I saw this gap, I said, oh, once they break above this gap right here, it's a wrap, right? So yeah, Vertiv is going to be a banger. All right. So yeah, I've been looking at them for sure, for sure. All right. So yeah, hey, shout out to you for knowing about VRT. Shout out for that. All right. But yeah, so are you buying short-term contracts? So when I swing trade, I like doing, depending on, what my price target is, I like doing this like the same week expiration or the next week expiration. Anything outside of that, I will do like, 1 or 2 months out if it's like a little bit bigger move. Or I will do like 6 months out, but that's something that I'm letting really cook, right? I'm letting really, really, really cook. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I hit Nike last week. I hit them nasty. Nike is on a. They got some real bullish action too. You look at Nike. Boom. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Nike got some. It got some momentum as well. Look what they got going on. So they could be coming up to, like right here, 82, $80 right here. This $80 range is really something that I would be looking at, right? But they just went crazy. So I think that what I think is going to happen with Nike is they're going to pull back to like $65, well, like $66, $68. The EMAs ain't even crossed on a weekly, so they're gonna come back down and they're gonna retest. They're gonna come down to at least $70 at some point soon to retest and then bounce up, and then they could go back to the upside. All right. But yeah, so the next thing on my so let's go to my honorable mentions right here. All right. If we go to my honorable mentions, let me see the first one I want to say. RB said, how confident are you in applied moving to $11, $12 range or beyond? I have a swing till October. I think that's definitely a long enough time. October is a good time frame. It might hit $11 like, sometime this month. But what I will say is, whatever you do, make sure you're not holding the bag. All right? Make sure you're not holding the bag. All right? They do got some gaps to fill to the downside. But that's why reading the charts is so important, because if you see a reversal happen on a daily or the weekly time frame, you could get out before it get real ugly, right? So yeah, but I like apply. I think that they're gonna. I should have entered into a swing last week on Thursday when it was at like 950, but I didn't. I didn't get into them because I was focused on some other stuff, right? But yeah. So let's go to my my honorable mention. Let me give y'all one of my honorable mentions right here. We got XYZ, okay? We look at XYZ right here. Where is that? Banger. Where we at? You look at XYZ right here. They got above this 200 EMA for the first time in a while, right? They above that 50 EMA right there. They did reject off of this level, but XYZ, man, it's a banger. All right. They don't have any resistance. They have no resistance until what? $85. So they definitely got a lot of room to go up to the upside. So I like XYZ. I like Weeble as well. They did just hit above this 50 EMA. Now they did just IPO not too long ago. So they came all the way up here, and then they was all the way what, $55, $80, right? Came all the way down to $10 right here, right? And now look what's going on with them, right? They got some momentum. EMA just crossed over. They right here at the 50 EMA. So I like Weeble to the upside, at least to $18, right? We could see them come touch like $18. That would be a nice little move right there. But on the 30-minute, if you look on the 30-minute, they tried to come up earlier in the day and then they pushed down, right? If it was the opposite and they came down and then pushed up, I would say they got momentum to the upside, but we got to see, right? But yeah, I like Weeble. I like, where is it at? Uber, one of my favorites to trade, right? You look at Uber on a daily time frame, all right? It looks like I do think that Uber is going to come down, but before they do, I think they're going to hit these all-time highs and make new all-time highs, right? But you look at Uber right here, okay? They do have a gap to fill right here, down to here, right? So they got a gap to fill all the way to 85, but they got this this bull flag right here. It's consolidating to the upside as well. So if it comes below like $90, then I would say it's null and void. But it has a nice little situation going on here. So if you see it break above 94.50, then I think Uber will be able to make new all-time highs and really go touch $100. Okay, so I like Uber as well. Another one, we got Apple. Okay, you see what they did. You see what's going on with Apple, right? They've been consolidating over here for a while, right? If you look at this structure, right? You look at this structure right here, boom, right? And then we got structure right here, boom, okay. And then, all right, so look at that. You got a little structure right there. Come down here. Come down here, right? So as you see, it closed right here at the 200 EMA. If Apple can get above this 200 EMA right here, then I like Apple up to 223, 221, right? Right here, because it has a gap to fill to the upside right there. All right, has a gap to fill up there. So I like Apple. They just got to get above this 214 level right here. And if we look at where Apple is at, on the in Robinhood right now, let's see, AAPL. Apple is at 213.21, so they're only like 20-30 cents below here where they closed out on Friday, so that's not bad. So if Apple could get above 214, I like them going to the upside, and they could go up to 221. So I would say look for Apple to the upside this week. That would be a nice call, a trade right there. And then what's the other one? HIMS. I think that HIMS might shock people and start to push up, okay? It had an indecision week 2 weeks ago. Last week, came down, pushed up. Well, it started up here, came down, and then it, closed the week off strong. So if we could get above $50, then I think that HIMS could come in and try to refill this gap right here. All right. So I really do like HIMS. I like HIMS. That's probably one of my favorite stocks to trade. Oh, also, Google. We cannot sleep on Google. All right. We got this nice, look at all that bullish action right there. Okay. If we could get above 181.19 on Google, I like them to the upside. If you look at the daily time frame, we ain't got nothing but room. We could go to 180, 183. and then we could go to 185 for Google. All right, so but we got to get above this 181 level right here. It's only like $1.50, so that's nothing for Google. All right, came down here, bounced off of 174, 175, and as you can see, it pushed to the upside. So, so yeah, I like Google as well. If and only if we could break above this 181.22 level. Y'all see what I'm saying? So Uber going to 105. Yeah, I definitely think that Uber has room 105, 110, for sure. Yeah, add an Apple below 200 and let it run. Yep. Apple definitely, because Apple has been down for a while, So when you got a giant like that and it's down and it's under the 200 EMA, then you kind of safe, for calls like if you get in some calls there and you give yourself time, you can make a lot of money off of Apple. All right. So yeah, Josh, he said he up 8% on Apple. Yep. Best Beezy, he in Apple right now. He up. Can you take a look at SoFi? SoFi, I think, is consolidating now. I think that it's a good place to take your profits on SoFi. I think that SoFi could take a little bit of a dump. But yeah, it's right at this level. It's at a important level as well. You just gotta let it. You just gotta let it cook, and you gotta let it. You gotta break past. But it does have room up to. It does have room up to like $20. Okay, so if SoFi gets above, $19, then it's going to 20. All right, but it got to break above that convincingly, and so we don't know what's about to happen with these like tariffs. I think that the tariff situation in the news, it could just cause a slight pullback, like I've been saying, right? It could cause a slight pullback. And then from there, it could really make for a great entry to the upside. Okay. So yeah, I hope I answered everybody's question. Clove has 160 million in cash with no debt to upgrades to 450, from 450 to $6 with Trump new bill passed last week. This will help people get new health care. That's what's up, Clove. Let me see something real quick. Look at one of my tools. CLOV. Let's see. Okay. He said it got upgraded. Let's look at where they at on Hood, on Robinhood. CLOV. Healthcare. They're at 250 right now. So honestly, one thing for me is I don't mess with stocks that are like under like $5. Honestly. That's just like my thing, but it ain't no shade to anybody, but yeah, like stocks that low, I kind of don't really mess with them. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. Josh, I need to get into options. Hey, them options is money. You already sound like an educated dude. You know what I'm saying? So you know how to. You know how to read the charts. It sound like, and when to buy. So if you know where a stock could be going down to, you could ride puts and you could double up your money. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if y'all have not, be sure, man, to join a Discord, right? Or you could do a one-on-one with me as well. But yeah, join a Discord. Come trade with us. Come educate yourself even deeper. And if you really want to turn up, then schedule a one-on-one with me. I'll show you a proven strategy as well, and how to really like make trading feel a lot less stressful and unpredictable. All right. Okay, Josh. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with buying holes though. You know what I'm saying? Like that works for you. That works for you. But you could hedge and you could double up your money with options. You know what I'm saying? UNH, I think it could go up. It had a nice run last week for a couple of days, but let me see something. On a weekly time frame, UNH look ugly on a weekly. Hella selling pressure. But yeah, I don't know, man. UNH look like it's gonna try to come back down to 295 and retest that little level right there, and then it might bounce off of that to try to go higher. But yeah. All right. He said options will work. I'm busy daily until 2 p.m. Okay. Well, look, if you could opt. So the beautiful part about trading is on options is you could swing trade. So you don't need to. If you busy until 2, you could swing trade. You could get into a trade at the end of the day at 3 p.m. You get what I'm saying, and ride it until Friday or the next week, and you could go make 3, 5, 10,000. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I would say to that. Clove and UNH both have plans. Hey, so Clove, UNH, another one is MRK. Healthcare is doing well right now, and it will continue to do well. So and whenever you see a healthcare company doing well, look in that sector, and see what else is in there. But MRK, I swung them a few times this year and made pretty good money with MRK. So yeah. Work. So yeah, y'all. So those are my honorable mentions. Like I said, there's a million setups that I'm seeing. So we just got to see what happens with the news. We got to see what happens with everything, right? We got to see what happens when we wake up. And we just got to keep our ears to the streets and to the news and to the market and see what happens. But yeah, it's a lot of opportunities out here in the market. If you have not, be sure to join the Discord. Genesis at one-on-ones is far. Hey, I appreciate that, man. For real. Yeah, tap in on a one-on-one. All right. If y'all really want to do that, we could change your life. All right. Seriously. I have to learn more about strike price. So hey, just watch the video that I just did over the weekend. I did a video. Just if you haven't already, Josh, man, tap into my videos. I got over 200-300 videos. I put out videos every single day. If you go consume the content on my channel about options, it'll change your life. Like straight up, I stand by that. It'll trade your life. Like seriously. All right. For sure. So yeah, y'all. I have a Merc call expiring in September. Yeah. Merc is gonna it could go up to like 90, 95, potentially 100. And when it runs, it runs. All right. When it runs, it runs. So Merc is a banger. All right. So yeah, y'all. So y'all be smooth this week. Keith said, honestly overwhelmed with all the setups. I say, hey, I feel you. That's why you just got to focus on a couple and trust with what you see and just let it be what it is. All right. Just let it be what it is. All right. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. We had like 70, 80 people on this live the whole time, man. So salute to everybody. Shout out to everybody. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to keep this thing going. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it going. All right. Like I always say, make sure you get up out of your head and go get into this world because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right. And also remember, y'all, the more you study, the less you worry. All right. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow on the Discord. We're going to get some big money this week. It's going to be a great week in the market. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace.